Good afternoon, everybody. I'm excited to moderate today this session at EuroCIO, and I thank you also our special guests, and I welcome them here. So we have Jana Winter, CIO Generali UK, and Thomas Kölzer, CTO at Burda Forward, and as well Oliver Botti, Strategic Marketing and Innovation at Fincons. So Fincons is reaching this international breadth, and so I'm very happy really to have this conversation today with a couple of our international partners. So, but let's go straight to the topic of conversation of this afternoon. So, and the first is digital transformation, and in particular, new digital businesses. So technology has been always enabling this new digital business, and sometimes it's a new business itself. So today we would like to share with you which has been challenges and which solution has been found to enable this new digital business into these new cases, couple of cases, and also our point of view on this topic. So starting with Burda Forward, Thomas, you had a very interesting initiative to lead, enabling a new digital business. And the thing was not being sure to have the right capacity to implement it in the right time to market, which is always very quick. So what was the new sourcing strategy which you decided as a group within Burda Forward, and how you lead to success the execution of it?
Thank you, Francesco, for the kind introduction. In order to understand the necessity to go for a new sourcing strategy, one has to understand the situation we've been in. Burda Forward is a large digital publisher. We are running 6 quite large media brands in Germany. The 2 largest are Focus.de, which is the largest news portal in Germany, and Chip.de, the largest portal for consumer electronics. In former times, we used to have a platform based primarily on commercial software for our media brands, and the portals have been interconnected, but our strategy was to interconnect them even tighter. And we realized quickly that in the question of make and buy, we have no chance to really be happy with commercial software that we license. And therefore, we took the decision, or we had to take the decision to develop such a platform which can implement our multi-brand strategy on our own. But to implement such a platform, you basically need people, not just a certain number of people. They also need to show a certain quality and experience, especially in media business. And it was apparent that we can't implement those plans from our subsidiaries in Germany, which are in Hamburg, in Cologne, and the headquarters in Munich. And therefore, we took the decision, I think it was in summer 2018, to set up a tech center, delivery center abroad at a place within Europe, which is more favorable to realize those plans. And so the new sourcing strategy at that moment was we have our own people in the 3 German subsidiaries. We did some nearshoring in Slovakia and the Czech Republic, and the new idea then was to have our own engineers abroad within the European Union. What happened then was a long and comprehensive search for a proper location. It was a project that took almost 9-10 months, where we set up criteria to discover the right place to go. To give you an idea, the criteria have been: we want to stay in the European Union because making business is easier within the EU, and time zone we don't have a problem. We wanted to be in a country with that shows a cultural fit with Germany. We wanted to be in a city where there is an excellent tech university, where you have new students graduating every year. We wanted to see a developed IT market with several IT companies, local companies that are successfully doing engineering business there, but it shouldn't be overcrowded in a sense that the competition was too tough. And then the last important element was we wanted to go to a place where we have a local partner who can help us to set up the tech center, but also who can help us with additional manpower to implement a smart shoring model, so that we say we can start right away with a certain number of people, with people that are experienced in media business, and we carry on to keep them busy on a contractual basis, and on the second side, starting to hire our own staff and setting up this tech center. After the period of 9 to 10 months, there were 2 cities left in the final. It was Cluj in Romania, and it was Bari in southern Italy, in Puglia. We went with a quite large delegation. Our CEO joined us to both cities and stayed there a couple of days. We talked to the universities, to local partners, to other companies that are resident there, and went through all the requirements. What I forgot to mention was proximity. One requirement was direct flight to Munich. And at the end, it was a clear victory for Bari and for Fincons, whom we identified as a local partner there. So we opened the subsidiary in 2019 in October. It was a great opening, and since then we are enjoying a good success there with rapidly growing subsidiary and with an excellent partnership with Fincon. So our platform is evolving, and we are very happy to see that the things run out as we hoped and planned.
Thank you so much, Thomas. Jana, leading the transformation at Generali UK, being Generali a global business and pretty innovative business, understood, or can we say, a new digital challenge now is helping your business transforming into a customer-centric approach. So in this sense, which has been the challenges and which has been the instrument? Can we say, that within that data modernization, you are really founding this transition, and if can you help us understand what this can mean for a global player like your company?
I would like to set the scene a little bit. So if we pick as an example, one of our most complex by nature businesses is the Generali Corporate and Commercial. It operates in 20 countries, and it has a lot of complexity with dealing not only with high-end customers, but also if we have a client who operates in 70 countries and we need to ensure 5 lines of business and we have 20 countries, that many puzzle is quite a complex thing, and we enjoy complexity. So I'm the Chief Information Officer, and my job is to enable my business and to be one step ahead of their needs. So with executing a 4-step transformation strategy, and the sequence was first integration transformation, So we can put the pieces apart and then put them back together. The second part is infrastructure transformation, which we're finishing now this year. By the end of the infrastructure transformation, we're not going to have any data centers. Everything is going to be in the cloud. It's not a question of cloud first, it's a question of cloud only strategy. The third element of our transformation is the data modernization, and I will come back to that, I will zoom to that. And the fourth step is the application. So over 3 years, 4 major steps of transformation. Why data is important for us is, again, we're complex business. Insurance generally is the fourth biggest insurance company in the world by revenue. And insurance is all about the data. So at the moment, I have 150 systems in various territories with various complexity, various amounts of data, various heartbeat of integrations. So either I can continue having 150 separate systems, or I can find a way of using things across the systems. And again, this is our strategy. This is why our strategy was integration first, so I can decouple the pieces. In infrastructure second, so I can put everything in the cloud, and I can use the elasticity of the cloud. I can decide how much I want, when do I want it, follow some of the cycles in our business. For example, on renewals, our amount of data goes through the roof. Then the data, so I know where the pieces are, how they come together. And finally, applications. My own personal approach to applications is, if I have the data correctly done, I can develop 10 applications of the same nature, put them on the market, see which one works, and potentially decommission 9 out of the 10 and keep the one that is successful. So again, to us, data is in the middle of the transformation sequence. It is the most paramount part. And when people ask why data, what are the main things, I always say that there's 3 elements that are non-negotiable. Number 1 is the functionality. The so what am I going to do with the data? Number 2 is regulation and security. Again, not optional. I need to work with my regulators. I need to respond to their needs, and they look after me as well. And the third element is always costs. Again, that's why we have this transformation and particular sequence, because we want to be agile, we want to be elastic, we want to have the right opportunities, the right functionality, the right data at the right time. So in doing this, and I was listening to Thomas's explanation, I can just say tick, 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 very similar approach, because I don't want to have an in-house team. I want to be able to use the best in each technology domain. And specifically for the data, I'm based in the UK. My global business is in 20 countries, especially with deep UK expertise. We have a lot of remote outsourcing in Asia. And we've included that in our considerations, but actually where we have gone and what we have decided to do is to actually partner with FinCons on the data. And it is not only for the one-off transformation, but then it's for the ongoing run services of the data. Maybe a bit by coincidence, maybe by design by FinCons. Actually, FinCons' geographical distribution and geographical locations also work very nicely for us, because we can use the Italian team, we can use the UK team, and we're already planning to use other European teams to serve some of our local businesses. But to me, it is a little bit of a dream come true, because again, on the 3 points, on functionality, FinCons have brought on board very advanced modern technologies, which we can deploy in the clouds. And we don't have to use technologies from 30 years ago. We can use the modern technologies to achieve our functionality. On the regulation, I can immediately use FinCons' expertise on the EVAS regulator in Italy, the PRA regulator in the UK, and we have this little thing called Brexit we're preparing for. So again, the FinCons is bringing very, very specific expertise. And on the third point, the cost. This is the combination of new advanced data technologies in cloud with very intelligent team by FinCons, very experienced team. And we just have to be absolutely careful that we know what we're doing, how we're doing it, because no one wants to overspend, especially in insurance.
Thank you so much, Jana. And it's also definitely very interesting and exciting. So, Oliver, new digital business must pass through innovation. And for us as a company, of course, we never pretend to invent anything new, but to be very care of what is happening on the market. So can you therefore explain what innovation means for FinCons and how FinCons is helping customers to roll that out and embed it within its business?
Okay, thank you, Francesco. It will be a pleasure. We created a little team of a little innovation team about 8 years ago. And we started working on scouting new technologies together with being part of international research project, very often funded by the European Commission. And that was an early start, but very soon this team has been growing and has been growing together with the company, together with being involved directly also in our sales cycles to understand what the market was demanding for. And so it became gradually a key asset for competitiveness. So innovation became really a mindset within the company. Probably was already there, but we created a tool to focus ourselves on the innovation growth. It becomes the driver of our initial international expansion when we opened offices in UK and Ireland, in the US, then in Germany and France. Because the innovative part of our offering was not only the sales pitch, was really the part of our offering answering to the hottest topics. What is interesting also about innovation is the cross-market application. We are organized by industry, so we have business unit dedicated to each industry. But innovation is a team that since the beginning started growing cross-industry. Why? Because all the technology that we've been scouting and investigating and then moving towards POC, proof of concept, then pilot, then real application, and then ultimately product, started in one sector, but then have been applied in many others. And we can discuss this better. But I think that what I would like to focus on is also that gradually we introduced the structured approach. So as I said, we started with an activity focused on what we call now pre-competitive research, which means that we're talking about project where there is a wide cooperation with universities, research centers, and other companies, both customers, so end users, or vendors of innovative technologies. And the goal there is to challenge the new emerging technologies to see how they can be applicable in real cases and how they can solve real issues. One of the mission of this kind of pre-competitive research is not to develop product, but is to share as much as possible the results and disseminate this, because the growth is faster if it's a shared growth. And then this is what we still call pre-competitive research. And then we created, after a couple of years, we had a lot of proof of concept, good ideas and good technology that were ready and mature for being applied in production. So we created another team, which we call solution engineering, which does what we can name a competitive research. So where we start being competitive, we start producing our own product, our own solution, and this product and solution are really giving us a competitive advantage on the market. We have a third step, which is equivalently important, if not more than the other two, and which happens very often in parallel. It's not a third in time. It's just a third building block, which is innovation with customers. Very often we innovate thanks to the collaboration and very often also the co-investment with our customers. And so we have plenty of examples where we went through scouting of new technologies directly with customers, and then we went back to the solution engineering after a couple of project-based initiatives. I would like to pick up, if I can, one success story, which is still running and still challenging. So it's nothing that is going to be a product in a short term, but still we are in the visionary, I would say, research. We started 4 years ago with Content for All. It's called, this is the name of a European funded project that whose aim is to automatically translate the speech of our television content into signing language for the hearing impaired. So it's a matter of accessibility. So this is technology for the citizen, let me say. Not to make money, honestly, right now. Then it would be a saving of cost for a lot of broadcasters. But right now, it's directly addressing a citizen need. This project started years ago and started providing, applying the most innovative artificial intelligence, machine learning, TV interactivity tools and technologies, and to be able to translate automatically a process that now is necessarily manual, and move from the speech of a normal, of a standard TV transmission into a signing language, which is which is played by a photorealistic 3D avatar, which is like a human, which is obtained by collecting a library of pictures of a human. And so it's a human at the end. It appears as a human, but it's obtained totally automatically. We are still in the middle of the process, but we are proud that we received the Innovation Award, the Technology Innovation Award of NAB in Las Vegas this year. And also this project has been invited by several influential organizations like the DTG in UK to showcase their results and their advancement, and periodically is invited to showcase the new results and advancement, because there's a huge market waiting for these results to become a product. So we are particularly proud about this example that still is not making money, but is very interesting and stimulating all our researchers and our partners.
And it's very exciting. Thank you, Oliver.
It is.
So, Thomas, also, setting up a new tech center is somehow exciting and full of challenges. It's a matter that a lot of players did many years. But if you can, discover to us which has been the key points and what you discover, after more than 1 year that you are located now in Bari, again, against expectation that you had when you started this journey.
Mm-hmm. As I said, for us, one of the big steps was to go from make to build for several key components for a digital publisher. And so that was a challenge and such, because if you realize the capacity we need to provide, that's quite tremendous. The portals of Burda Forward, they enjoy approximately 40 million users every month. And we have many concurrent users. We have a lot of messages, video stuff to transport. So scalability is a very important factor, and speed, low latency is also very important. If today you have a slow portal, you will basically die, because none of the players will work with you. Google will not list you, Facebook will not list you, and the consumers will also not like it. So the technical ambition was definitely quite high, and that means you really need good people for that. And we were looking for a company with a proven track record in media, and I think it's for sure that FinCons is a global leader in IT development, especially in the sector of media, and this is what we experienced. The people we enjoyed to work with from FinCons, and also the people we achieved to hire in Bari, they all have shown a very high level of expertise. They understood precisely how to fulfill the needs that we have, and this is why I can only say after more than 1 year that everything we did was a tremendous success. Of the end of the day, it was the right place to go, the right people to work with, and if I had to go back in 2018 and go through the process again, I would exactly I would exactly set the same goals, set the same criterias, and at the end we would take the same decisions. And you're absolutely right, Francesco. There are a lot of companies who set up a tech center abroad and they fail because they don't get communication right. They have not the right local partner. The culture doesn't work. So there are many points where it can fail. And we are very happy that for us, the opposite was true. And we all know, I mean, we're sitting here in a video conference because of the pandemic, and our subsidiary has just been 6 months old when the shutdown in Italy and Germany and everywhere happened. But still, we made it, and we are happy, and the new colleagues are happy, and the people in Germany, they are working well together. And maybe last point, we also achieved to keep control. It is our platform. We develop it, but we innovate together with a company who knows or who's experienced an important aspects of that platform. This is what also Oliver said: innovating together. And for us, as a media publisher, we can then keep control of what we innovated, and this is the perfect cooperation model for us.
Great. Thanks, Thomas. At the end of the day, it's people business, and culture make always the difference.
That's the point. Huh?
So on this perspective, Jana, I trust you had a lot of experience with, a lot of people in your business. So what is what you discovered different from the journey started, together, and what you think may be the secret key to success to this transformation?
I will start with the secret. And the secret is to keep it simple. However, keeping it simple is never easy. So why I'm saying keep it simple is now working with FinCons, we're going through the data modernization. And whichever way you look, any dimension, I have multiple things that we need to take care of. And when you multiply many by many by many by many, you realize that the complexity is there. So to keep it simple, I need to have very strong people with expertise, technical expertise, but also subject matter, really the data governance, the insurance expertise, the regulator expertise. So let me just try to paint a picture why it is so complex. And again, complex by nature, and it's good to have a challenge, okay? All right, so when we started working, we wrote something that we call the Data Bible. And we decided that it will have 3 very, very simple chapters. One is data and analytics. The second one is financial integration. And the third one is data governance. Because even financial integration for us is all a question of data, going from A to B with reconciliation. So again, data and analytics, financial integration, data governance, 3 chapters of the Bible, okay? Then the next complexity is that I have many businesses. I have multiple businesses, and I don't want each one of them to have a data solution. I want to have a multi-tenant data solution that deals with different businesses, different data models, different business models, but I want to have one multi-tenant IT solution. The next complexity is that I have multiple regulators in multiple countries with multiple needs. How do I address all of this? The next complexity is that I have, again, the 150 systems. The next complexity is that at the moment, all of my existing data systems are legacy. Now I'm putting new in the cloud, modern technology data systems. So I have the old estate, the new estate. How do I bring them together over the next 2-3 years? And the final complexity is that things happen. I might have very good idea of what will happen this year, next year, but I always need to have the flexibility to switch on and to switch off data, and including, so when I said final, there's one more complexity, which is we can start with a good old-fashioned move data from A to B, reconcile it, check it, produce reports, but this same data platform lends itself to the following steps, which is the analytics, advanced analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, because once I have control of my data and I can see what is where, I have a good place where to start putting the new advanced approach to using that data. So I will come back to say this is why we have selected FinCons, because I'm getting everything that I need for my data platform. I'm getting the technology expertise, I'm getting the subject matter expertise, and I'm even getting the regulator knowledge. So again, I just wanted to comment on Thomas's point. Even with lockdown, with pandemic, we have established such good way of remote working, virtual teams. We have put the right teams together that I would like to say that from IT point of view, we have been used to that complexity, working remotely, and it has not slowed us down.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Jana. And Oliver, starting from this, can you also share some other examples which has been driven by, sharing this expertise and methodology of innovation across markets and across industries?
Yes, we have plenty of, and I would say that, for example, just to mention the most innovative technology we've been dealing with, big data and advanced analytics are topics that we started going deeply, so scouting technologies and developing new solutions stimulated by the financial sector, financial services sector, so banking and insurances. We also have productized this into what we call Fast Data Lake, which is a product. But then we are now moving this and we are experiencing this technology in all the other sectors. Internet of Things, another group is interesting. Internet of Things, even the first machine learning and artificial intelligence mechanism engines, and also the latest one, which is we're still waiting for a final application or a final set of application, which is blockchain. All these three technologies, which are so key, started for us. We started to analyze them and to experience them within the manufacturing area, and then very fast we started moving in all the other sectors, in particular to the media sector. I would mention also the blockchain, which is I would not say the less mature, but the one which is not yet taken the room that it should have. We started a research project years ago applying blockchain to anti-piracy in manufacturing, so to tag and monitor the distribution of products. Then we migrated this experience into a very interesting one. Before COVID, we started applying blockchain to smart working for a public administration in Italy. Trying to better support the remote working before this became a necessity. So you can see how the visionary innovation can become immediately a necessity when you never expect it. And also we are now working, we just won another grant from the European Commission to work to apply blockchain to smart contract management for the media sector. So it's really across experience. I would like to mention probably the most successful story here. We started working for several years ago for broadcasters to develop for them the most innovative solutions nowadays, which are over-the-top TVs and hybrid TVs. This concept and most of the technology behind that not only become part of the new strategy of the digital revolution that these players did in the last 10 years and are doing nowadays, either in Europe and in US, also driven by the takeoff of new emerging standards like HbbTV in Europe or ATSC 3.0 in the US. But they are recently becoming a very important tools to innovate the video communication of every enterprise. So we created indeed the solution which is mediated from the media solution, from the solution we created originally for the media, and we are applying to public administration, internal communication or external communication to the citizen, internal to the employees, utilities and energy, transportation, financial services, banks and insurance. All of these companies communicate either as a strong need of communication internally with employees, externally with the citizen, with the customers in B2C and B2B approach. And nowadays with the pandemic, this need of communication is even stronger. And we are applying the sophisticated solution which were designed for broadcaster to introduce interactivity in every communication, to introduce interactivity, personalization, a gamification dimension, and also a social enablement.
Thank you, Oliver. Going back to Thomas, I'm super happy you told that if you have to take again the decision, you will repeat the decision. But if you then have to make the sum, of all the cost of the benefit of this journey, what would you highlight?
Well, the first thing that we need to emphasize is that we are not following the strategy to save cost by going to region where salary level is less than, let's say, in Munich or in London. This is absolutely not the strategy of Burda Forward. Our strategy is to go where we find highly qualified people that are on the market and they are happy to work with Burda Forward. So from this point of view, the cost-benefit equation does not compare salaries. It was not possible to do that in Munich, so it was not a realistic case. The cost-benefit equation is more about the question make or buy. And of course, we are having a higher manpower cost than before because we make rather than to buy. But the advantage is that we have a direct grip on our platform and our system, which leads to a much faster application development for certain exercises that needs to be done. We are approximately 2 to 5 times faster than before. And on top of that, we are able to develop much more complex applications since we can tweak the engine below in the way we would like it to go, which is not possible if you buy a system. Yes, we are saving licensing fees, which is of course not as much as we pay on the manpower side, but it is still a significant part. We can realize our strategy to better interconnect our platforms and to provide the users with a much better user experience and, as I said, more sophisticated applications. And so it's very difficult to say at the end of the day how many million euros that will provide, but it's for sure the right basis for a further steep growth of the company, and that's directly associated to the quantitative and qualitative improvement on the engineering side we are enjoying since we opened in Bari.
And if I may add, the food in Bari is great. So
yes, you see, Francesco, that's. It's not a problem. It's great. The point is that when you tell people you are going to southern Italy, they will always say, that was just a decision because the weather is fine and the food is good." I can really say we did our best not to take that as a criteria, but at the end we never complained about the good weather. Today in a phone conversation with Bari, I learned that we have 22 degrees and sunshine. And here in Munich, I don't want to tell you how the weather is.
Right. Well, Jana, I think we are still a bit far now to make a final balance. However, if you already discover, what would you highlight as a benefit on top of cost, on the journey, on the joint journey?
And I'm not going to mention the London weather. So Thomas is exactly the same as in Munich, okay? I always remember things in 3. So again, my top 3 things are functionality, regulators, and costs. But now, if we're really going back to the cost benefits, let me just tell a very quick story. Before I joined Generali, I was working in banking. So let's say 5 years ago, if you went to one of the major European banks, you would work out that 40% of the IT budget was spent on meeting regulatory needs. 40%. So at the moment, we get more and more regulation needs coming in insurance industry. And I'm working extremely hard with my team, both the business and IT team, so we do not end up in the same position. 40% of our IT spend should not be spent on regulatory needs. And there are ways of doing that. So if I go back to step one, which is the functionality, I mean, there's a very, very important element in insurance. And the key word is portfolio. Again, a business person in insurance will know what I mean, but portfolio view is I can get a lot of data, I can get a lot of knowledge together, and I can genuinely straight away use it for my business. How do I do pricing? How do I do risk management? Do I insure the same building twice by mistake? It's only a relatively trivial example, but that portfolio view is something that not many insurance companies have managed. So again, functionality, regulator, cost. And just to give a couple of practical points on the cost side, I'm looking at three elements in particular, working with FinCons. Number one is using modern technologies where the technical support, the technology support comes almost out of the box, and I don't have to go and use the technologies from 30 years ago. I can use the modern technologies and use a lot out of the box. Point number two is, I mentioned it earlier, the usage of cloud, especially with data, the amounts of data that we get. I cannot afford to have a regular data at peak because that will be very expensive. So again, we're very careful about that. And the third element, I'm just going to repeat exactly what Thomas said. It's not the tools, it's the people and how the people use them. So when we were selecting our partner for the data transformation, the most important thing was the knowledge in the people's heads, because they can use the tools, they can modernize, they can reduce the cloud usage, they can meet regulatory requirements. But again, the people has been the most important aspect.
Absolutely agree. Thank you so much, Janna. And final to Oliver, with I guess not so much that 3 minutes left, so it would be a challenge if you can try to make your own sound, because we also have to be very competitive about bringing innovation to our customers and together with them. So how can we do that?
Yes, I think that we have been able along the years to put in place a sustainable model of research and innovation, which is based on public grants. We are actually receiving, we are bidding, we are participating to tender, and we are winning regularly international, national, and regional grants from Italy, from Switzerland. We are applying also in UK. Basically, we have a sort of, let me say, a war machine to be able to sustain also this model. We work also with private investments and with co-investment with our customers, with our clients. Also, it's interesting, the wide network of university, that's very useful because they work with us and for us. Universities, research centers, innovative technology partners. We are currently working with more than 20 universities around Europe and university and research centers. We make about 30 proposals of research projects per year, and we have about 10 projects running on a stable basis every year. This allows us to have a direct participation to this pre-competitive research, but also we have funds for the competitive research. Very important is also to participate to influencing organizations like the standard bodies. We are both involved in Europe and European and US ones. And if I pick up the previous success story about next-gen video communication, this is a good example where at the end, this is really competitiveness for us. So we started from a visionary research and innovation initiatives when 7 years ago we started working with German broadcasters to work on new interactive TV standards that were not yet official standard in Italy or UK, for example, but just in Germany and partially in France. We started working there. We involved our customer in research activities. Then we moved from research to a production-ready project when we launched day one of availability of this standard on Samsung television sets in Italy, 6th of November 2016. Day one, we launched with Mediaset the first application leveraging this standard. So this means we started in advance. So we moved from research to production. Then we we contributed to the migration of this technology from Europe to US because for a while, Europe has been advanced on interactive television standards. And we started working with the US broadcaster 2 years before their equivalent standard, which is called ATSC 3.0 for interactive TV to be supported in the US, became a reality this year in 2020. So that was an absolute competitive advantage for us and for our partners. And then we decided to move all these European and US experiences that we were doing from being projects to being product. And we created our so-called Smart Digital Platform, or SDP in short. This platform now has been applied not only to the media market, but we have already launched it and we are spreading it into non-media market. So it's a process that really we couldn't imagine when we started 7 years ago, but it's really a successful one, which is addressing the topic of being competitive in this crazy arena.
Thank you, Oliver, and thank you to the wonderful guests we had this afternoon, and ready in time for the Q&A session.